I'm starting recording. Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
get the
Can't say anything bad now?
Yeah,
It's not good.
mind your P's and Q's. Thank you.
Wow, we probably got it.
Thank you all for.
Sorry, take over right now.
Good luck with the rest of the petition.
Gonna call the order, Chuck?
What's that?
We're gonna call the order.
We got a minute to go and I'm gonna get it too soon in case somebody walks in like Dan late or something. Give them a minute to show up. Eh?
Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't tell everybody, but you can see that Tricia is attending virtually. She wasn't able to come in person this evening.
Bye, Trish.
I have a child home with strep, so thought that was,
Bring it in here.
yeah, I didn't think anybody wanted me to bring it in to share.
I have a friend and colleague who they have flu verified, COVID verified, and some unknown bug in the house all at once. They just got back from listening.
2 weeks.
Oh, so they run it on there. Yeah.
So I think we're hitting 5:30, so we'll call the meeting to order. First thing we'll do is ask the guests to introduce themselves and what they're here for.
Rod Ashby, Capital Consulting, here for the Family Health Network Project.
Okay.
Joseph Local Family Health Network. My name is Rich Wagner, Homes Architects, also here for the Family Health Network.
The fund canal is the governing, permit for 18 new permit.
Gotcha, okay. All right, so it's called to order, but before we do anything else, either minutes or not, I think I will ask the nominating committee if they have a recommendation for a slate of people, so we can vote on people, so someone can run this meeting other than me in case it's somebody different.
We do.
Okay,
Chuck will serve another term as chair. Paul will serve another term as vice chair. And Lori will serve another term as secretary. They're filling out their terms. They have to.
that's your recommendation.
That's our recommendation.
I'll move the recommendation.
Do we have any nominations from the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor of the slate?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so I will be sure. Still sitting, okay.
Congratulations, everyone.
Gee, might not last another year though, so you never know. All right, everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting.
Mhm.
Any, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
And seconds, did you get those? I go too fast sometimes. It should write it down.
Got it, thank you.
Did you get the first one, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. Any corrections or any discussion on the minutes? If not, then you have a motion to approve the minutes. Or no, we already did a motion, I'm sorry. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Chairman's auditory remarks is something glad we did before the meeting started, so we're going to have a maybe our before the meeting this year. And other than that, I don't think I have anything to say. Rich, yours?
So, some comments?
Can everybody hear me okay? Not too terribly loud? Okay, first of all, Dan just called. He's gonna be there in a few minutes, so Jess can go down and let him in as soon as he gets there, just so you know. I think first and foremost, we're making some good progress with the strategic development plan. We worked with a consultant and we've finally arrived at a logo, and I don't know, I think, did Gina have it by the sign up?
Yep.
Near the sign up, there's a printed version of the logo. We're still finalizing the fine details of that with the consultant. But now that the logo is set and the tagline is going to be Elevate Cortland, There we go. Thanks, Chuck. So so now we're really excited because we can start putting some boots on the ground. We're going to launch a website soon. And then, so now I think moving forward is going to be when we can really work with you guys and work with the communities to start getting some good feedback back to the legislature. So stay tuned for that. I know a couple of you have reached out that you'd be willing and happy to attend some of those with us and to be a little more involved in that process too. Right now we've asked the consultant and we've got a draft of a community outreach plan and engagement plan. And so the tentative schedule is to go to different quadrants of the county to meet with the general public and the municipal officials, but to also host a series of 4 focus group meetings in probably more centralized in the city for different groups that pertain to energy, for example, workforce, which would include education, so on and so forth, where we can bring some of the like minds into the room that have the same perspectives so we can get some feedback as well. So next month, we'll have a finalized version of that, and we're hoping to nail down some meeting dates as soon as possible. So we'll be distributing all of that information and hoping that all of you can stay involved as we progress with the process too. So yeah, so we're excited to be moving forward. Also very excited, we've hired a new mobility coordinator under our mobility manager to help with our mobility management program and the transportation system. So we've got that $5.5 million in federal and state grant awards that we talked to you about briefly. So we're going to continue to keep getting some RFPs together, because now is the time we can actually start making some of those improvements, getting some technology on the buses, some rider facing apps that can be used. So also Gina has been spearheading the series of NYSERDA energy webinars, and she's working on finalizing the 4th webinar right now. So stay tuned for more information on that to come out. And through her efforts on those webinars, we've currently been awarded a $5,000 and $15,000 NYSERDA grant for achieving those different levels of designation. And Gina's working pretty hard to continue progressing with those initiatives. And this is through the Climate Smart Communities program. So stay tuned for more on that too. There's a few community campaigns that we've identified that Gina's going to be continuing to work on. Most likely, it looks like right now, probably focusing on heat pump individuals in the county signing up for installing heat pumps and purchasing electric vehicles. So stay tuned for more on those. And I think that's mainly what I had on my list.
Tricia, did we want to talk about the charging stations?
That was a pretty preliminary award. So the details have to get worked out yet, but there was a large federal grant that was awarded, and we had kind of put our name in and some support letters for a shot in the dark, but we did put in for 12 charging stations to be located throughout the community between the courthouse, the county office building, highway, and Dwyer Park. So we're not really sure the details yet on that, and we can share more as that gets farther down the road.
Thank you.
Okay. So that wraps up that, so we can go on to the GML reviews. I guess we'll start with the first one, and that would be
18 Euclid Avenue.
okay.
Okay, this is 18 Euclid Avenue, an application for an area variance in the city of Cortland.
for the installation of an access ramp and storage shed. It's in an R2 district, single family home. The applicant seeks area variances to install an access ramp and a non-attached 13 by 6 foot lean-to for accessibility equipment storage at the front of the property. Construction had already begun because applicant has experienced health emergency, but construction has been halted pending the granting of the area variances. The addition of the storage shed and ramp would create a non-conforming setback. Third paragraph, the minimum lot size is 7,500 square feet. There's the existing non-conformity of 6,250 square feet. The side yard setback minimum is 7 feet for that district. Right now, there is a 5.3 foot setback, existing non-conformity. The rear yard setback is a 25 foot minimum. In the code, there's an existing non-conforming setback of 8.46 feet. The next paragraph, access ramp variances. So there are conditions to granting ramp variance. The length of the ramp is to be constructed not to exceed the minimum recognized standard of rise per foot. The variance granted must be for an entryway which is least intrusive to the neighborhood. Ramp must be dismantled and removed within 90 days of the determination of the need for it. And the variance granted pursuant to this section shall not run with the land and shall terminate of the need for it. Therefore, it's recommended that the city require the applicant to adhere to conditions set forth under this code. Finally, this proposal is considered a type 2 action under seeker and therefore does not require the completion of an environmental assessment form. Our staff recommendations are that the city require the applicant to adhere to the regulations set forth under the applicable code.
Second.
But I'm sorry,
And-
did we-
And we'll accept the recommendations, and Lori's seconded.
okay, thank you.
Any discussion?
Why did this come to us? Why
Yeah.
was it not come back?
Within distance of a creek or something, or?
Yes, yes,
On the
okay.
boundary?
Okay.
Probably. Most likely. Yeah. But I mean, I do have one, and you didn't do it in the recommendation, which is fine. But you talk about variance necessary for things that are pre-existing, those don't need variances, right? All they're doing is doing the thing for the ramp, which is what the code's gonna look at, right? There's no reason for variances for side yard and rear yard and all the other stuff on there that's already pre-existing. They only need the variance for the ramp.
I wondered about that. Thank you for explaining that.
But then just to compliance with the code. So sometimes when you write these up and they're pre-existing non-conforming lots, I don't think they need variances for all the non-conformities that are pre-existing. They just need it for the new stuff they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So, but that's what this is here for. So yeah, she's needing one for what she's got to do. But your recommendation state that, so I'm okay with it. But it just seems like you state in here sometimes that they need a variance for rear and all that stuff. They're not doing anything for rear. So I don't see a reason for them to have to get that. So just, so that's my feeling. I don't know. Anybody else?
I agree, I agree.
My recommendation is what now?
We're just recommending we comply with the code about ramps. Section,
Code, and the code states what?
the code states they might need one if they're going in front together. She reads it off, the last thing here, it says, granted authority to front yard, side yard, any variances they need to put ramps in if they need to, as long as they take them on.
So do they get to put the ramp in?
Yeah. they should
Yeah,
have
it's the
five.
ramp
Okay.
as well as the building, right, in
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
The building's already there, and I think the ramp's already there too, looking at the picture.
Well, the ramp wasn't there before, they should have applied for the ramp and did it and built it, I think, which of all the other ones I would worry about. Anyhow, it's there. So now we've already had a motion, anybody else have any other comments to make? All in favor? Any
Do
opposed?
you want to do, amendment?
No, I don't want to amend it. The recommendation is to follow what their things, there's no reason to amend it at all. What's that?
That the one on 18 Euclid?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's all I can use. You have a comment to make?
No, I just want to make sure that we had a question. I apologize about late.
No.
Fine.
That was
Should
it.
we ask you a question so you feel like you came here for a reason?
Oh, I can just go right back.
these meetings, why not?
No, if you guys are all set with it, I'm good.
No, we're good.
All right. I'm not good.
Hopefully you use the elevator.
I did, my knees.
You need that exercise.
Ken, I had to get the tax bills today.
Oh.
Thank you for coming.
Keep that chair over there is first.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm going. No.
Oh, I see.
Everyone, thank you.
Good luck. What we got next, Gina?
All right, next we have the site plan review for Family Health Network for 85 Southwest Street in the village of Homer. Good night.
Good night.
That's right. Okay. So, this site plan review application is to construct a new medical exam and procedure building. The location is, on 85 Southwest Street, directly north of the Cortland border. The size is 7.643 acres of a total 23.169 acres owned by the Family Health Network. It's partially, this lot is located partially in the B3 district and partially in an R1 district. In September, we reviewed a subdivision application for this parcel, with the owner maintaining ownership of all the parcels. It has not taken place yet, and the current application concerns the proposed lot number 2. Applicant is now applying for a site plan review for construction of a single-story medical exam procedure building, in the B3 zone, 12,225 square feet facility with exam rooms, testing labs, treatment rooms, waiting rooms, restrooms, offices, cleaning, medical supply room, staff lounge, environmental services room, registration area, open portable print area, surrounding parking lot, landscaping, and retaining walls on the east and west side. The village code permits professional offices in this district, therefore it is permitted use. Excuse me. Applicant site plan meets lot size coverage and setback requirements. Next paragraph, applicant has indicated that this medical facility will not house equipment that produces radiation, strong magnetic fields, anesthetics, or flowing oxygen. Those can be prohibited. Let's see, the applicant has provided a proposed construction sequence for major site work-related items on their sheet 6110, if not. Applicant has indicated that all utilities shall be installed in accordance with municipal regulations and the standards of private utility companies. It's recommended that the proposed connection to the village public water supply and sewer system be reviewed by the Cortland County Environmental Health Department and approved by the village. It shall include an engineering report for the installation of the required backflow prevention device for the public water supply. Applicant engineer has indicated that they will work with the New York State Department of Transportation as the parcel is in the state right of way for New York State 281, and the village, they'll work also with the village to review and satisfy requirements for the public sewer connection. Applicant has indicated that vehicle access to the proposed building is by an existing drive that serves as shared access to Route 281. Applicant has indicated there is a permanent easement on this drive to the proposed building site. It's recommended therefore that the village require the applicant to submit a copy of all easements, particularly road access easement, to verify permanent access. As upon subdivision, this would otherwise create a landlocked parcel. It's also recommended that applicant provide evidence of permission from New York State Department of Transportation to increase flow through the existing driveway. Applicant will be updating the application with an estimate of traffic volume and patterns. Parking, applicant's proposed site plan appears to comply with parking requirements. I'm looking at access through public transportation and for emergency vehicles. Current public transportation vehicles looks okay, except for there's one. Let's see. Current public transportation vehicles have a maximum height of 11 feet 8 inches, and the site plan has a maximum height 11 feet 3 at the drop-off canopy. Therefore, it's recommended that the village require the applicant to increase the height capacity of any drive-through to accommodate public transportation vehicles. Homer Village Fire Department has indicated that there is sufficient emergency vehicle access in the current site plan. Applicant has indicated that there will be a sprinkler system within the building to accommodate future growth. The Cortland County, excuse me, Environmental Health Department indicates that a fire hydrant located on private service to the facility may be issued permission by the village water system to be protected by a double check valve if it is designated for fire protection only. Additionally, CCEHD indicates that the medical facility must be protected by a reduced pressure zone backflow preventer, which will require a review by CCEHD. Both the medical facility and the sprinkler system must be protected. Therefore, applicant is required to provide these safety measures. Applicant has provided a proposed landscaping plan indicating location and quantity of species of plants. Applicant has indicated that they will maintain the grounds through contracted service. Applicant has proposed a dumpster pad to the southwest of the building at the end of the lot to be surrounded by a chain link enclosure. Applicant proposes a sidewalk around the majority of the perimeter of the building with the sidewalk ramp constructed to be compliant with ADA regulations. Applicant has stated that there's a staircase that goes down from the proposed building to a building that's existing. The applicant has stated that this staircase will only be used seasonally by employees and will be closed off during the winter months. That's just access between the two buildings. Applicant has provided a lighting plan that appears to provide sufficient. Signage, we did not get any signage package that aside from the parking signage. So it's recommended that if the applicant intends to provide other than typical parking signage, the village require the applicant to apply for and obtain a permit for proposed sign package that conforms to specifications of the appropriate code. Because the proposed development is on a site, is on a significant slope, applicant has proposed terraced retaining walls on the east and west sides of the property with a landscape stormwater management practice just east of there. We did have a meeting about this, and applicant has agreed to alter the site to include pumps that will be installed to convey water to the management area. And that they will not permit stormwater to leave the site, but have it managed on site without impacting surrounding properties or roads. The Department of Environmental Conservation has indicated that the slope of this site has presented erosion challenges in the past. Therefore, they require the applicant employ necessary erosion sediment controls during construction to prevent sediment and stormwater from leaving the site. Additionally, applicant must also properly manage vegetation growth and slope stability with the application of topsoil, careful seed selection, and thorough mulching in place as necessary. Applicant has indicated that snow storage is sufficient. Applicant has indicated that 4 acres are to be disturbed in this proposed project. Therefore, a stormwater pollution prevention plan will have to be submitted, and part of that will be to satisfy the Department of Transportation's need for a drainage report showing no potential negative impacts to New York State Route 281. Am I going too fast? Okay. The proposed project is within an aquifer recharge area. So the Soil and Water Conservation District has indicated that all chemicals during construction, such as petroleum products, and following construction, such as paints, solvents, and retail products, must be safely managed to avoid release into any surface water or onto the ground in order to protect the aquifer. A portion of the project site is on an inventory of sensitive areas from the New York State Historic Preservation Office, and applicant has indicated that they will provide a clearance letter that they have from SHPOs. Applicant has indicated the hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, with 1 or 2 nights of hours extended to 7 p.m. There's a possibility that there will also be Saturday hours, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Finally, this proposal is considered unlisted action under seeker. The applicant's completed part 1, and parts 2 and 3 would then be completed by the village to determine if there may be significant adverse environmental impacts as the result of the proposed use. So for our recommendations, that the proposed connection to the village's public water supply and sewer system be reviewed by the Cortland County Environmental Health Department and approved by the village, and shall include an engineering for the installation of the required backflow prevention device for the public water supply. 2, that applicant worked with the New York Department of Transportation and the village to review and satisfy requirements for public sewer connection. 3, that the village require the applicant to submit a copy of all easements, particularly a road access easement, to verify permanent access. 4, that applicant provide evidence of permission from NISDOT to increase traffic flow through the existing driveway. 5, that the village review the applicant's estimate of traffic volume patterns. 6, that the village require the applicant to increase height capacity of the proposed drive-through to accommodate public transportation vehicles. 7, that a fire hydrant located on the private service drive to the facility be issued permission by the village water system to be protected by a double check valve designated fire protection only. That the medical facility and sprinkler system be protected by a reduced pressure zone backflow preventer, which will require a review by the Cortland County Environmental Health Department. That if the applicant intends to provide other than typical parking signage, the village require the applicant to apply for and obtain a permit for a proposed sign package that conforms to the specifications of the code. That the village require the applicant to ensure that stormwater management pumps will be installed and that stormwater will not leave the site but shall be managed on site without impacting the surrounding properties or roads. 11, that the applicant employ necessary erosion and sediment controls during construction to prevent sediment and stormwater from leaving the site. 12, that the village require that applicant ensure it will properly manage vegetation growth and slope stability with the application of topsoil, careful seed selection, and thorough mulching where placed as necessary. 13, that the applicant develop a SWIP, stormwater pollution prevention plan, which includes a drainage report showing no potential negative impacts to New York State Route 281, and that applicant obtain coverage under the permit. 14, that all chemicals during construction, such as petroleum products, and following construction, such as paint, salts, and retail products, are safely managed to avoid release into any surface water or onto the ground in order to protect the aquifer. 15, that applicant provide a clearance letter from New York State Historic Preservation Office. And 16, compliance with seeker requirement.
Got a motion? Paul, motion, Amy, second. All right, do we have any discussion?
Is it normal, Chuck, for stormwater management pumps installed?
I think it's stupid, but,
We didn't see it right away.
I can address that.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be sumps, not pumps.
okay.
so,
And by sump, what we're referring to is you got a pipe coming in, a pipe going out, and we're providing a 12-inch depth of water below that pipe going out so that solids, trash, can all settle in the catch basin. What we also talked about at the planning staff meeting was providing like a hood on that outlet pipe so that floatables like oils that don't separate will be trapped in the catch basin.
So that's just
So the-
ambient management of the basin itself.
Correct.
so there's not pumps involved.
No, it's supposed to be sumps.
Because when I heard pumps, it didn't make me.
Yeah, at first I was like,
Yeah, because that made no sense. So, that makes much more sense.
Okay,
Thank you.
What is the sensitivity on historic preservation fossils?
Well, so it shows up in the, if you look at the GIS site, Natural Resource Inventory System, I think
Yep.
what Chris stands for. It shows up in the gray bubble for archaeological sensitive areas.
Okay.
The previous owner, which, when the family had to buy the property.
Yeah, I think of the.
Anyway, short of it being that the previous owner performed the phase 1A and phase 1B archaeological investigation and submitted that to SHPO. And SHPO did issue the clearance letter, which I
Okay, so, good.
Okay.
scale, stay on.
It's not true.
It's right next to the cemetery too, so.
Other questions?
Surprise me if there's some
Ann?
things there.
I have an issue, being that we especially don't have the survey completed yet. I fear that, development of these future sites, without knowing exactly what utilities, what drainage courses are gonna happen in there, that it's kind of hard to, do one lot at a time without it interfering with one or the other, or easements, or, roadways, parking setbacks, all that kind of stuff. So I just, was hoping that there's a lot of forethought into the future development of these other sites and how it impacts the one here and the existing buildings on site also.
Are you asking for information on the future or?
I wondered if there was a
Or if there's a plan?
conceptual plan.
There, yes, so, hi. Karen Hobby, I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Family Health Network. We, hope to create, some growth in that space. We have absolutely no plans of selling any of that land anytime. So if it is developed, it will be, within the space for Family Health Network's use. And we have designed this, we haven't. Our designers, our engineers, our architects have designed this building, with the understanding that we would potentially want to, grow with this building as well. So, there is the potential for growth with this building specifically. And then, there is also, that foresight of, potentially turning this into, like the commons or something to that effect, that you might, similar to you guys, more growth and interrupt.
So the expansion would be, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the other lots and development of those lots in reference to this one, and how utilities and parking and setback information would, if there's been a thought into that, where.
Correct, and that's part of that, that development of creating, medical facility of buildings that we thought about. And again, those lots would not be family health, so we give the building within those lots.
With respect to utilities, parking and whatnot, and some of it is a physical constraint because of the side hill condition. We don't want to create these, like a single parking lot to service the campus, because it just becomes, I don't want to say impossible, but expensive and difficult to grade properly. So to have distinct parking lots for each building on the campus is what works best, because we're able to create those landscaped grade breaks between, say, this development upper, on phase one or phase two, but then the next building that gets built will have an area of pervious area, grass, landscaped area, that we can manage the grade better than if it was straight asphalt to asphalt across the property line. Excuse me. And also within that area, especially on this site, what we have to the north of the retaining walls, to keep the stormwater from flowing down the hill and over the retaining walls and into through this development, we've got a swale at the top of the wall to collect the water as it comes down the hill. And then to safely get that the rest of the way down the hill, we do have to pipe that. It's just it's too steep of a slope to do in like a natural grass swale or something like that. So that's another area where that grade break or that grassed area in between each segment of these developments in the future provides that opportunity to do that. As far as other utilities, water, sewer, gas, most likely for the future, they'll come up through the storage building, which is further to the north. We'll come up through along the access road and spur the water, sewer, gas, and electric off of that.
Other questions? Anybody else have one? Lori?
Yeah, so where is the exit gonna be? Is it gonna be going right through the family medical where it is now?
No, so DOT, when the administration building was built, DOT restricted future access. All future access had to be at the technology drive, which is, right now, it's between the Farm Credit and the State Police Barracks.
Okay.
It leads up to the medical storage building.
Oh,
But that existing driveway that's there,
Yes, it's an existing driveway and it does, Family Health does have an existing.
and they've got the building to the north, the storage building.
Yes, correct. And so we're gonna come up through there.
Right.
Hitting a left with
Right,
a
it's got that
driveway.
long road going in. so-
Yes.
Yeah, that's awfully close to the stoplight right there as well, isn't it?
No,
It's
the
down.
technology park, or I keep saying technology park because I have another project that, technology drive is further away from the traffic light. So that's why DOT is pushing all of our traffic that way to get away from that traffic.
Is that a private road?
Yeah, well,
Private.
so it's, yes, it's a private road within a, the,
Planned unit development.
well, yeah, the strip that goes up right from 281 to the medical storage building, that's within a 60-foot easement, because that was intended in the past to be turned over to the village, but the village no longer wants that since Family Health is going to own all of its
So
properties.
you guys retain it.
Yes, it's going to stay in a private easement, and then cross access through the other.
Yeah, what they want it, but what they.
Well, that's one of the questions I had the last time.
Yeah, yeah.
The last time you guys came through with my question, that driveway being a private driveway was being subdivided and to sell those to other people. I thought there should be a wider easement to make it into a public road if ever necessary. The other thing is that's a long stretch of a driveway, and the fire department's okay with this long stretch down to there and that other driveway. You gotta go through, that looks like it's going uphill ways there. Up that driveway to that site, I guess there's a hydrant out there, they're gonna sprinkle it around with a hydrant around it or what?
Yeah, so, the discussions with the fire department, what we're providing is, it's called hammerhead off of the driveway.
Yeah,
For their emergency vehicles to turn around
in that driveway space.
Yeah, it's,
Cause you gotta come way down that driveway to get to that space, right?
yes.
So it's okay.
I mean, by fire, it's a little,
Space.
just, we have to provide an area for them to turn around.
Once around to get inside, yeah, it's just, it's just a long dead end. I don't know, if Homer has issues with that or not for a certain length. Some places do, that like driveways go to a major.
Yeah, I bet you had to go around. I thought you had.
Well, they have to have two means of access sometimes if it's a long way. I don't know if Homer has that or not. But typically, if it's a real long driveway, they don't want to see a facility with a lot of people in it and not be able to get access. But I don't know, that's the village's call. I don't have a big problem with that. Look like a difficult site to me. And I guess the only question I would ask, Gina, does anybody know if the village is gonna hire anybody to review this app from an engineering standpoint from their planning department, especially the stormwater management? The county really doesn't do that much anymore.
We did not hear from.
So I really worry about the stormwater management being submitted just by the applicant's engineering firm.
Yes.
Because often they do things that I don't like and other people don't like. I'd rather see the village have an independent review of what the stormwater management is all about.
If I can answer that, I talked to Dan Agnor, the village clerk today. So they have two independent engineers that they work with. I'm going to be emailing Dan the SWIP tomorrow so that he can get it over to
Maybe
the.
there's somebody's gonna be reviewing it.
Yes, they have one.
That was my only concern. They have someone that will look at what you're doing.
Mhm.
Because the county used to look over it when what do you call it? One group and Reedy was here.
Oh,
Used to review them pretty good, but Pat hasn't been around in a while doing that from the, what do you call it? Yeah, whatever. Anyhow, so I'm not sure if they really take a notice of those kind of things anymore. So I want to make sure the village at least has somebody looking at it because it could be touchy. It's a touchy site.
And
Was
I,
it- Sorry.
yeah,
Was it soil and water? Do you
Yes.
mean, Chuck?
Yes.
Soil and water used to, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Pat was
And-
so to do good job of reviewing all the SWIPs and making comments on them and that kind of stuff, and he's not around, and I'm not sure Soil and Water gets involved that much anymore.
Yeah, I think they have a standing contract with some of the municipalities to actually like a
Right.
paid contract like Cortlandville, but they
Right.
don't have one with Homer. So that's a great point.
I actually thought they were hiring a engineer. I thought that was one of the things they just got in the budget was to hire an engineer.
Village?
No, soil and
Cor-
water,
Oh, yes. But I
45,000 something, right? I mean, for.
Yeah, but they haven't filled the position yet or anything. So for projects like this, and maybe down the road, once they, if and when they do fill that position, maybe they'll actually contract with more of the municipalities like Homer. Would be my thought is what they do.
Well, it sounds like Homer's gonna get there.
But once they have somebody else reviewing it, it's good to have somebody. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just gonna make one other comment, and that is that, going forward, and what we've seen already in the last couple of years is torrential downpours, much more than we've had in the past. And that's just predicted to get worse and worse. So any control we do should really be thinking about much more than what has been allowed in the past, so to speak, to prepare for the future, which is already here.
I think most of that's up for 100-year storm, maybe.
Well, a 100-year storm is no longer a 100-year storm.
Is the SWIP been completed yet?
Yes.
Okay, and reflects that?
This plan is not. We added another, dry detention basin
Okay.
to manage the runoff.
Come on, still,
Yeah.
where is the site, then down below the site all.
Well, it's right above, right to the west of Farm Credit,
Okay,
that low spot. So actually between Farm Credit and our driveway. So what it's doing is it's collecting out the runoff from the hillside.
yeah, I understand. But it looks like a lot of grading taking place on this site. It's gonna be a
It's,
site near the retaining wall, but it's gonna be tricky, so. As long as the walls don't slide down into the building, it'll be okay. That's good. The water comes down.
Be done into the universe.
Concrete block.
Who else has questions on this?
I do. Back in September, the, planning department recommended approval of the application with the condition that the, village consider updating zoning
Correct.
lot 2 and 3, but it hasn't been done yet. Do we know when that's gonna be done?
If it is.
Yeah, if it is gonna be done,
Would be two,
B3.
district.
You mentioned it hasn't been done yet, but
No.
are they planning to?
We
Yeah.
have not gotten any indication.
Okay.
about it at all.
So this,
Do-
this,
go ahead, Trish. Let's-
That's okay. No, they've been talking about updating the zoning. So we'll make sure that this is on our docket. We've got like a laundry list of little items to make sure they get updated. But and two, it's good for us or you guys as a board, since we'll obviously review that once they make those updates, to keep that in mind. But I know Gina had mentioned the same thing.
The applicant indicated that the project will be wholly in the B3 district.
Right, so look, this doesn't affect this application, because it's just where it's allowed. Some of the other sites aren't within that, so other sites have been turned over to a B3 before they could build this kind of facility. I think that's what I understand, is that correct?
so the zone line
Cuts
is,
through this, right?
no, it's through the entire parcel, but it's further west of our disturbance. So this site here is totally within the proper zone.
Where you're working is, but the parcel itself is partly in both, is that what you're?
Correct, yes.
They don't need to obtain any variance for that, then? Trish or Katrina, what do you think?
Say again, sorry?
No variance is required for this site for what they're doing?
No, because like they said, it's gonna be all in the B3 part of.
Right, but the whole parcel they're building on is not, I don't know how that works, but
Typically,
Yeah, it's up to the bill. I think that's, as long as you're within the B3, it's allowed there. I don't have a problem with
As
it.
long as half of it's in the B3, then.
No, the entire
No.
work is within B3,
Yeah.
but only half the part. So there's work taking
Oh,
place
okay.
in all the B3. What they're not working on is in a different zone.
Okay.
So I get that correct.
Thank you.
And the other zone was residential, right?
Right.
So,
R1.
right.
And so there, this would be all down in the airport itself.
Right.
We've been told that they're going to eliminate our districts.
Okay.
That's what I think we heard in September as well.
Yeah,
If I remember.
we were told they're gonna move that zone line to our property, to our western.
Okay.
I didn't really find that much for dimensions of the lot area for this. I was looking for where you came up with the lot information on our analysis.
Good job.
Is there a map that shows?
I don't, it's C400 in our submission to the village. Should have gotten to that, that's the, and C500, which is the old one site, but that shows the lot dimensions as a setback. Yeah. I didn't see either of those in this.
Yes, the dimensions.
This thing is like Cortland now.
Right, I spoke, I was about the setbacks.
Tina, a lot of times, a lot of times they used to bring the map so that we would have it available to look at. Maybe we could start doing that. Yeah, no, I'm good with it. As long as there's something to go by like that.
Other questions?
No.
If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of staff's recommendations? All opposed? Carried. Oh, excuse me. We changed that word pump in.
Yeah,
here.
I was, I
Get rid
meant
of
to ask
pump
that.
and make it into sump, okay? I don't want someone else in here have stormwater pumps, okay?
I've never seen it, so that's big.
I've seen them, they don't work.
I was, early in my career, I was told never.
Never.
It's so bad, the pumps should kick on.
Yeah, it's not good. Just change that word, okay?
Yeah,
It's in number 10.
you don't know when they fail until they run along.
Yeah, it always happens in the middle of a storm.
Yeah. Didn't work. Never installed it, like, really done it.
Tina, it's in recommendation number 10.
Yes, I'll take care of it. I'll do it, universal search and replace.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good night.
And then
So our final review of the evening is the moratorium from the town of Preble on the use of dwellings as transient or short-term rentals. The proposed law consists of a title and 5 sections: definition, purpose, scope of controls, term and effective date. The law is entitled "A Local Law Enacting a Moratorium to Temporarily Suspend the Use of Dwellings as Transient or Short-Term Rentals." I do want to say that, since I made this report, there's a slight update that I got from the town lawyer with changing some of the wording, so I'll tell you that as we go along. Okay, so definition for the term transit rental, short-term rental is a rental of any portion of a residential structure, including single-family and multi-family dwellings for a period of less than 30 business days. Doesn't exclude licensed bed and breakfasts and inns. Therefore, it's recommended that the town consider exempting licensed bed and breakfasts and inns from the law. The purpose states the intention of the purpose of the law, so therefore we recommend they change that title to intended purpose, as if that's what's discussed in that section. There's just some wording, recommendation about wording and putting the word new in, before the word use, where it says, It is the intention of the town board of the town of Preble in enacting this local law to temporarily suspend the use of dwellings as transient or short-term rentals as described in section 1. We're recommending they put in the new use instead of just use. Next paragraph, purpose of the moratorium is to enable the town to temporarily halt the operation of transient short-term rentals for a reasonable period of time to enable the town to adopt appropriate regulations of transient and short-term rentals. It's recommended that the town consider adding the words review, study, and or analyze, and before the word adopt in section 2, in order to explicitly state the work being done on the moratorium. And this update that I had from the town lawyer did include those words. It's also recommended that the town consider giving a specific reason or reasons why a moratorium is to the benefit of the people of the town. And I just gave an example there, another moratorium. Let's see. Just another wording recommendation. The first two sentences of this scope of controls. So it should say, during the effective period of this local law, the use of a dwelling as a transient or short-term rental shall be prohibited, except any dwelling listed on the short-term rental website. And that was, the lawyer agreed with that, so that's in the proposed update we're talking about. The new proposed update has another section about conflicting laws being superseded, and if there's any existing laws that conflict with this new law, this would supersede. The section titled term indicates that this local law shall remain in force for a period of 270 days from its effective date. The section titled effective date indicates that it will take effect upon its adoption and filing with the Secretary of State. It's recommended that the town consider adding sections that I've found from other more similar moratoria, specifying variation application procedures for hardship claims, designation of responsibility for enforcement and penalties for violation of moratorium, enforcement and penalties. And that was one that the town lawyer said they want to put in. And what would happen if any part of the new law is found to be invalid? Section, that's the validity and severability section. Finally, this proposal is considered type 2 action under seeker, adoption of moratorium on land development or construction, and therefore does not require the completion of the environmental assessment. I'll look to pass those around and then I'll read the recommendations.
Okay.
If that works.
Okay.
Okay, the staff recommends approval of this application for local law for the purpose of enacting moratorium on transient or short-term housing only under the following conditions. 1, that the town consider exempting licensed bed and breakfast and inns from this law. 2, that the town consider altering the title of section 2 to read intended purposes as the section discusses intention. 3, that the town consider adding the word new before use so it reads to temporarily suspend the new use of dwellings. Section 2, that the town consider adding the words, excuse me, review, study, and or analyze, and before they adopt. Section 2. 5, that the town consider giving a specific reason or reasons why a moratorium is to the benefit of the people of the town. 6, that for clarity and continuity, the town consider combining the first two sentences of section 3 with the words except that added between shall be prohibited and any dwelling. 7, that the town consider adding sections that specify various application procedures for hardship claims in a variance section, designation of responsibility for enforcement and penalties for violation of moratorium enforcement and penalties, and what will happen if any part of the new law is found to be invalid, validity, and severability.
Could I have a motion? Motion and seconded. Any discussion?
Moratorium in development is a local law. It's a
Yeah, that's a
temporary
local law. They have to adopt. It's a local law and it's tied to it. It's a way to give them time to look at the problem and establish a new law. It's a standard practice. No, it takes a process they have to go through when they go establish.
Can you give us
I can't,
background?
I'm on the planning.
Can you give us background on this?
I'm on the planning board and we.
No, because it's something that they're just doing. How good was this moratorium on it?
Now, I think the moratorium is a good way to go into the town or any place that needs some time to look at their laws.
Look at it.
I can probably give you a little background since I live
Yeah.
on Song Lake. The issue is we've probably got 4 or 5 Airbnbs now
Yeah.
on Song Lake.
Mhm.
And the concern is that people who are renting the property are not aware or involved or invested in making sure that the lake remains free of any contaminants that might come in from other boats and other things like that that people can bring in. So it's a question of how much can, at least on Song Lake, the way it's been thought about is how much can the lake community actually support having other people come in for short-term rentals. So I think there's not opposition to longer-term rentals, but a short-term rental is the issue.
Everywhere you go these days, you look for B&Bs, you know, I look for hotel, you know.
Well, yeah, I know, but if you think about it from the property owner's
It's the property
perspective.
owner that's responsible.
But the other problem is the lake is used by all of us, and the value of the property is impacted tremendously by the lake itself and the health of the lake. So,
Well, much of it's like 2/3 of people through that area.
and Skinny Atlas has just banned it as well. Skinny Atlas has just banned Airbnbs.
Amy, you have a question?
Yeah, just, I can't vote on this because I'm the planning board and we have our comp plan, we've included these in our comp plan, so I can't say anything. But on your recommendations, you know, when we say licensed bed and breakfast under the state residential code are allowed, they're not Airbnbs. So when you say,
License.
yeah.
I had the same question. What is the license?
Oh, yeah, okay, she said executive, yeah, because Airbnbs are allowed through the residential code. Yeah,
I mean,
so that's-
the contract they signed to go to Lake Tahoe, it's like a 12-page contract. I mean, they have your charge card,
Oh, yeah.
they have your charge card.
You get some part to do there.
Yeah, yes.
There's actually no problem.
Right.
But I guess my question is,
Stop.
Really, what difference does it make whether somebody's renting it for the weekend or whether they're there for the weekend? Right. I have the same, right, right. And I think there'll be legal complications with it, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that's the issue is that we don't have any kind of regulations or rules or anything
Right.
else.
I said,
And in many other places, they do. Down in Florida, for instance, there are lots of rules associated, especially around Lake.
yeah, I don't know what the legal ramifications are. I wasn't even sure you could even regulate.
well,
Airbnbs.
I worked on the town of Scott at Far East Skinny Atlas Lake, and they made them put in a watering of your boats, you know, it was a system that you pulled out and had to wash it right there and catch for it so that it
But
didn't.
that's both. And that's
Again, the enforcement has to go to the property owner.
Well, this is a concern about the contamination of the lakes. and
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
and
think that's a law that is.
but that would be more of a local law associated with the lake itself.
Right.
It
exactly.
wouldn't,
So I
wouldn't have
think
anything to
that's,
do with an Airbnb being rented though.
Yeah, usually B&Bs provide a boat because
That
of,
I don't.
because of
Well,
those.
they do,
issues, taking and taking out.
we don't have, there are no regulations at all at the moment.
And I guess my question, I'm not a lawyer. There was courses provided on this, I guess, and seminars.
Yes,
I've gone,
there
and
was.
So I don't know what I'm talking about to some extent. But can you actually regulate if somebody wants to rent their house out?
I would-
I believe that's,
What's that?
yeah,
So I'm a tourism person. A lot of like tourism destinations that have banned Airbnbs and put regulations on them because people are coming and buying our properties. They're not residing in that
Correct,
residence. So it's strictly just operating basically as a
Correct. A
hotel.
lot of them are doing that. Yeah.
and so therefore they're no longer,
So
They're no
some
longer
people, some
residents.
towns have banned those types of Airbnbs, but if it's your permanent residence, you're living there, they allow it. So there's just different regulations and different options that.
Yes, I just don't know what the laws are regarding Airbnbs, but it's going to need a moratorium regarding. I'm not sure how.
right, I was gonna say, this is a moratorium to review that
Right,
and figure
right.
out what they want to do.
So I don't know. I think it's a good idea to do the moratorium. I just don't know what kind of legal basis any town or village has to control
They do it all over the country.
it.
Yeah.
Really quick too, Chuck, just in the spring when we have our training with the Department of State, we're gonna request that they do a section on short-term rentals. I think we've included that in our trainings before, but I think it's a really relevant topic, and it's coming up quite a bit here in Cortland County. So we'll definitely make sure that Chris Eastman presents on that too, and we can ask a lot of questions at that point too.
Yeah, he did present last year at that. I went to that presentation as well. So
I was, my place, we got like 5 empty bedrooms and during whenever there's a graduation ceremony,
Why not?
I could make, $200 a week.
again, it's whether they should be regulated.
Yeah,
Too bad you didn't have a kitchen on the second floor.
I still don't. But anyhow, so any other questions on this? All in favor of staff recommendations? Aye. Opposed? Okay, one abstention. Is there any other business before the board? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes, can I bring up one other
You
thing
may.
before the board? Sorry, forgot. This is just a question. I will be out of town for the next 2 meetings, and I already know that. Is there any way we can have a variance or something to actually participate when you're not going to be
It's
here?
a state law, is my understanding. I think Trish has addressed that before, right? We can't do that. Is that correct? It's a state.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can attend and be part of the conversation, but can't vote. Yeah, and that's the New York State Open Meetings Law.
Ah, got it.
But I think you can participate by making comments and talking.
Right.
But your vote would count as a no, is that correct? Or
Yes, it counts as a no. That's why I was just asking if you had as planning.
No, we
board.
can't do that. I think that's a state issue and I can't do anything about it. I don't think Trish can do anything about it.
Okay.
I wish I could, but I think it worked a lot better for some of those people during COVID.
Watch this. You're online, we can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd love to all be online.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sit at home and do this. But,
So
so do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion for adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yep, stick a file through. Doesn't have to be.